gathering here today as we mark 1 year of heroic resilience, a resistance of the people of Ukraine in the face of the barbaric onslaught of Russia's invasion 1 year ago. But this gathering here today, with diplomatic presence from dozens of countries and community representation from dozens more, demonstrates that the world stands with Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, to begin our short program, it is my great pleasure to introduce someone who by now certainly is no stranger in Ottawa. Before being appointed ambassador to Canada, Yuliya Kovaliv served as a senior public servant, most recently as deputy head of the President's office. She is a quintessential representative of the post-Euromaidan generation of Ukrainians working for a better future. She embodies the energy, optimism, patriotism of a generation that has lived most of its life in the post-Soviet era and knows that Ukraine fundamentally belongs in the heart of Europe, not as a perpetual plaything of its imperialist neighbors. Since coming to Ottawa, Ambassador Kovaliv immediately plunged into her role representing Ukraine beyond ably. Like her president, she is everywhere and an assertive and effective advocate for her country. Ladies and gentlemen, Her Excellency Ambassador Yuliya Kovaliv, Ambassador of Ukraine.
Thank you, Yaroslav. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, шановна українська громада, thank you for being here today in solidarity with Ukraine. Thank you, Your Excellency, Right Honorable Mary Simon, Governor General of Canada, and Mr. Whit Fraser for being with us today. Today we mark the Family Day in Canada, and our relations with Canada are not only the strong relations between partners and allies. These are relations closer, stronger, and filled with compassion. The relations which we feel as our family. These family relations have been built historically and has been built on ties between our people, our culture, and our heritage. When someone from our family member needs support and protection, we always stand up to help them. That is what Ukraine and that is what Ukrainians feel from the very first moment of Russian invasion from Canada, from Canadians, and from Canadian government. You were with us from the very first day of declaration of Ukraine independence in 1991, and now when we are fighting for our sovereignty and protecting democracy. Today, we also mark the day of the Heavenly 100, the day when 100 Ukrainians lost their lives 9 years ago in Maidan Square in Kyiv with the strive for our European future. Due to their sacrifice and the sacrifice of many brave Ukrainians these days on the battlefield, today Ukraine is a candidate of EU member and a proud member of EU family. This flash mob today marks an unwavering solidarity between people of Ukraine, people of Canada, our diplomatic corps that represents countries from around the world. Thank you, your governments and your people, for the steadfast support of Ukraine. Today we will unveil Ukrainian flag, yellow and blue, which symbolize blue sky and fields of wheat. The sky, which is peaceful and secure, and the fields of wheat that provide the grain to the world. And that's how it should be soon after our victory. Since February 24th, Ukrainian flag obtained a new symbol, is the symbol of courage, resistance, and freedom. Our brave men and women on the front line are keeping Ukrainian flag near their hearts as protection. We cover our brave soldiers in their last journey with Ukrainian flag. And our indigenous people, Crimean Tatars, in occupied Crimea, keep Ukrainian flag despite the danger of their lives and despite the risk of prosecution. And for us Ukrainians, there is no more inspiration than to see a blue and yellow flag proudly flying again over the liberated cities and towns in Ukraine. And we are sincerely grateful to see our Ukrainian flags in cities and villages around all the continents of the world, flying in solidarity with Ukraine. We are today paying the highest price for the right for our blue and yellow flag to fly over all sovereign territory of Ukraine. And with your support, it will fly in Crimea, in Donetsk, and in Luhansk. Thank you, Canada. Thank you, Your Excellencies. Your support means a lot to us. And now I would like to invite to give a speech to Her Excellency, Right Honorable Mary Simon, the Governor General of Canada.
Good afternoon, everybody. Bonjour. Tungasawitsi ilunasi. Thank you, Ambassador, for your kind words of introduction and for the strong message that you have given us here today. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. We come together to mark a day we hoped would not arrive. A year ago, Russia began the unconscionable full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Since that time, too many have suffered and are still suffering. Nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui pour marquer un jour qu'on espérait ne pas voir arriver. Yet, we have also seen the strength of humanity. Brave and resilient Ukrainians willing to fight for their freedom and the freedom of our world. Citizens standing firm and pushing back against their aggressors. People from many nations offering help in defense of democracy and the rule of law. And the Ukrainian community of Canada, one of the largest Ukrainian diaspora populations in the world, has been steadfast in raising support for their families and friends in the heart of great danger. As the attacks continue, the humanitarian crisis deepens. We need to take every opportunity to support Ukraine. We need to help people find safety and moments of normalcy amidst the chaos. We need to support Ukrainians as they rebuild their country, even as they fight for their country's future. Nous devons soutenir les Ukrainiens dans la reconstruction de leur pays, même s'ils se battent pour l'avenir de leur pays. We must face this crisis together across borders. My thoughts go out to the Ukrainian people, to the child whose only wish is to go back to school, to the soldiers who only want to be reunited with their families, to the teachers, nurses, and community leaders who are trying to maintain a sense of normalcy when everything is all but normal. From the first day and through all of the devastating days since, Canada has stood firmly alongside the Ukrainian people, and we will keep doing so. As we approach 1 year of Russia's continued attacks, let us all hope for lasting peace, for families brought back together, for the rebuilding of homes and livelihoods. Let us hope that this first year of war is the last. Daya Kuyu, thank you, merci, nakokmik mikwich.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for such moving remarks. Your presence here today, your sign of solidarity, will be remembered as an indelible symbol of the unity between the people of Canada and the people of Ukraine. Slava Ukraini. I would now like to welcome a representative of the temporarily displaced community to offer remarks, Ms. Olya Rudenko and her son Lukian. When the war broke out, Olya's husband was among the first to enroll in the Ukrainian Armed Forces, while Olya took her young children to seek refuge in safer places. It took a while, but she eventually made it to Ottawa, where, in a quintessentially Canadian story, in a quirk of irony, she now works as a settlement officer, helping others from Ukraine get their feet under them in their new home. Her boys have settled as well, one attending Gleach Collegiate, the other Corpus Christi, just a few blocks from where we are. This is a Canadian success story of how our community has embraced those fleeing danger. Olya, please join us.
Thank you. It's a great privilege and responsibility for me to be here today among the honorable audience, the ambassadors, Their Excellencies Governor General Mary Simon and Wade Grant Fraser, and speak on behalf of the Ukrainians. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all the people who came to support Ukraine today. It is hard to put into words how much your support means to Ukrainians. My name is Olga Rudenko. I'm from Western Ukraine. I came to Canada in the end of the March. I didn't plan moving to another country, leaving my home, my husband, and my parents. Together with my two sons, I was fleeing the war. I wanted to take them away from the air sirens, missile attacks, and all the destruction that Russia brought into Ukraine. Since my arrival to your beautiful country, I met so many amazing people, open, sincere, understanding, willing to help, to support, to share. Canadians share their homes with Ukrainians, their clothes, their souls. Upon arrival in Canada, I was lucky to find a fulfilling job at one of the Ottawa settlement agencies. I hear hundreds of stories every day, and every story is unique. But in a way, they are all the same. I'm going to share my personal story with you, and I'm sure you will find hundreds of stories which are very similar. When the war in Ukraine broke out, my husband was among the first one who willingly enrolled into the armed forces of Ukraine, while me and my children were forced to seek safety abroad. As millions of other people, of other Ukrainians, I left my home, my job, my parents. As millions of Ukrainians, I had to adjust to the new reality. My kids had to use to the new school, and all my friends were scattered all over the world. We wanted to raise our kids, spend time with our friends, and enjoy life. But the terrorist state, Russia, has taken away our basic human rights. It's hard to believe that every day in the center of Europe, so many people are killed and wounded. Ukrainians don't have enough food, electricity, and often they don't have home anymore. Thousands of people who were musicians, accountants, artists, or farmers had to suddenly become warriors and defenders of our land. Thinking about 1 year anniversary of this genocidal Russian war in Ukraine, my heart breaks with pain. This year was full of despair and strength of spirit, hatred for enemies and love for each other, sorrow and unconditional faith in victory. Ukrainians have been defending their country for the whole year. This year felt like eternity to us. For me, it was a year of life on hold, disturbing news, daily tears, short messages from my husband, support from loved ones, and dreams of victory. And if you ask my 10-year-old son what his dream is, you will hear the dream of all Ukrainians and millions of other people around the world. Lukian, could you say, please, what is your dream?
Go to Ukraine to see my dad.
And I'm sure this dream will come true soon, because the whole progressive world stands for Ukraine. Slava Україні!
Слава Україні!
Thank you, Olha. Thank you, Lukian. Now I'll ask Jillian Turman to lead us in the singing of the Ukrainian anthem. Jillian was born in British Columbia. Her grandparents came from Ukraine. Jillian has been performing anthems since she was a child. She's sung internationally. You may recognize her voice from the last times you went to see the Sens. She has opened numerous diplomatic events. She is also a member of multiple local theater companies here in Ottawa. Jillian.
If everybody could please join me. Ще не вмерла Україні ні слава, ні воля. Ще нам, браття українці, усміхнеться доля. Згинуть наші вороженьки, як роза на сонці, запануєм і ми, браття, у своїй сторонці. Душ приціло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми, браття, козацького роду. Душ приціло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми, браття, козацького роду.
Slava Ukraini! Ladies and gentlemen, roll out the flag.
ти чорнобрива, серце розбила, що ж ти чорнобрива, гулять не ходила, чи то мати не пустила, чи то мати не пустила. Що ж ти чорнобрива, серце розбила, що ж ти чорнобрива, гулять не ходила, чи то мати не пустила, чи то мати не пустила. Дівчина туман, затьмарила мої очі, дівчина дурман, але я ще більше хочу. Ти мене п'яниш, я п'янію, до не схочу, забути не можу твої карі очі. Україночка моя, я ж до тебе мчав, на жалі залізного коня, як же ти могла, підманула, підвела. Снився щоночі, без щурзіння щарувала, серце ласкочеш. Що ж ти чорнобрива, серце розбила, що ж ти чорнобрива, гулять не ходила, чи то мати не пустила, чи то мати не пустила. Що ж ти чорнобрива, серце розбила, що ж ти чорнобрива, гулять не ходила, чи то мати не пустила, чи то мати не пустила.
Що ти чорнобрива, серце розбила, що ти чорнобрива, гулять не ходила, чи то мати не пустила, чи то мати не пустила.
Що ж ти чорнобрива,